Hello everybody, welcome back to NLC Division 2. Munster Rugby Gaming looking to book their first place finish against AaB, who are looking to play spoiler, have a good time. They're already locked at the bottom of the table, so it's going to be difficult for them to find their way to anything likely. However, Jamada, we found our way directly into Champ Select.
That we did, and let's see, quoting directly from Vernon's head coach, whether or not Munster are on their party boat already.
Surely they're not yet, right? The boat leaves next week.
With their one game left to well, technically obviously 3 games left, but 1 game here against AaB to lock in first place, you would imagine they'd take the opportunity to do so. But for AaB, potentially, I suppose, play spoiler, right? Go out with a little bit of pride now. They've got a couple more games left. I think, surprisingly, doing the correct thing, removing away Aphelios, because this is something that not a lot of teams have done against Munster, and it's particularly worrying that they consistently decide to trade hyper carries with the Munster lineup. And I also like the Zeri ban here to try and continue to sort of pinch the available hyper carry pool. And now that you have forced Munster to ban away the Jinx, I would just love to see a Jin first pick to just push that AD carry priority further and further down the list. Yeah,
it would be a big question. They've gone for the Hecarim, so that's changed things up a little bit. But with that Aphelios, the first choice marksman pool, you have to go towards... With the Aphelios gone, it's like the Jin, that's the option. And then there's like the Caitlyn and the Varus you're looking at, which are a little bit lower priority. Whether Munster decided that's where they should be focusing. Of course, the Zarya we've also seen, which has been locked in. Whether that will go lethality or on hit is another question. Gaboosh is just playing with our emotions. Was it... The Shaker was played when it was us casting, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. As Gaboosh, Shaco, his favorite champion. I think he actually said that after that is Pantheon jungle he enjoys a lot. Maybe I'm thinking of a different jungle, but I'm pretty sure.
I think you're thinking of Archeron.
No, because Archeron had this conversation with Gaboosh. Obviously, Viego is up there, and that's why we see it locked in. It is by far and away his most played champion this split, and he's looked the strongest on it out of any champion that we see him on. So nothing out of the ordinary from Munster thus far. But for AaB, what will they respond with? As they've already got the Hecarim, they can probably follow this up a little bit of dive. With the Zarya being there, there's also a little bit of emphasis to maybe think about taking away the Rakan, as we could just see this Kai'Sa get locked in. And honestly, I think it wouldn't be a bad shout. Now that you also have the Kai'Sa, you take away the Rakan, even if you end up with a bad lane matchup, you still have the flexibility of having like Hecarim, Rakan engage with Kai'Sa diving in, and you also deny away the Zarya Rakan lane at the same time. Wouldn't be a bad shout. Of course, you don't have to lean into it, and you can still go for other things in general that just provide you with engage that might also have a good time in Zarya Rakan, like the Leona or like the Nautilus.
Yeah, the Nautilus is the one being hovered. I think the worry was if you go for the Rakan, then they just lock in the Nautilus and you have a very unplayable lane experience into Zarya Nautilus. So gonna be not letting that one go through. This opens up for the Zarya Rakan, which is something that we don't see too often, honestly, because neither of the champions are really at that top level vogue. But with the Zarya being forced into it, it's actually the Tom Kench. Although, hear me out here.
Don't say it.
Moonstone Renewer, Tom Kench top. Hear me out. Your shield's huge. The healing on the ultimate's hilarious.
It's just not happening. That's the fact of the matter. I don't
remember.
I don't care what Bible chapters Watley's been saying to you off air. It's just not happening.
More important, you say no.
Okay.
But you must remember that our man Stumpy is a Heimerdinger enjoyer,
right?
A Malphite ult Baron stealing savant. Is there anything this man can't do?
I like to keep my job, so unfortunately, strong side is what I think Stumpy can't do.
Whoa!
On Munster's line. As I mean, anytime that he has been put on strong side, it's just not looked great, and he has been put on weak side quite consistently. It's been the Merb Baloo show for a majority of the split. So whilst I jest, it is genuinely a thing. Munster, their consistent setup is not putting Stumpy on strong side, and we'll be taking away Gunkus's Darius, which of course got a quadra kill with on Tuesday. It was a very entertaining game, albeit not a very close one. And Aatrox is also taken off the table. A lot of top lane bans overall. I think definitely some strong bans coming out from AaB. Silas, just because there's a very strong Silas ultimates there and available on the Gragas, just pinching on Stumpy's weak side pool. But the issue is, he probably just locks in Gnar here, and he will probably be very comfortable with that rotation. As Chimera, I expect, should be getting R5 this draw.
Yeah, just thinking about what Stumpy's going to be grabbing. There are some strong duelist options. The Camille is one of them, going to be locking that one in, as opposed to the Stumpy tank duty, which we've seen plenty of this split. Now it's a question of what AaB want to be putting into those solo lanes. Of course, the Kai'Sa could go mid. There is that flexibility if they want to go in that direction, but with the bot lane pool being pinched so heavily, you'd question if that was the most sensible idea. Of course, the Jhin and Varus are both available if they want to play that way, but it looks like it's going to be Gunkus locking in the set to go up against the Camille.
Honestly, you could still run this Kai'Sa in the mid lane, but I don't think it's really a necessity. I think you just go for something for blue Ben that you're comfortable locking into Chimera. We've seen this Vel'Koz before from AaB at the very, very start of the split, but I doubt we'll be seeing it today with the level of dive that is currently present with AaB. Something like like the Ezreal wouldn't be too bad, just as a sort of a flexible pick, as this will solidify that this will be Kai'Sa mid and Ezreal bottom lane with that Nautilus, and it will be an immediate Syndra lock-in. So Chimera, obviously a fair amount of experience playing into the Kai'Sa to willingly take the Syndra straight away, and also this does provide actually a very strong 2v2 at level 6 for the Munster Rugby game mid jungle.
Absolutely, the kill at level 6 is going to be almost guaranteed. Kai'Sa, not the most mobile to get away from ganks. If you stun her up once, the ultimate's going to be blown from both sides, and there's not really much you can do in that situation. But it is going to be the Ezreal and the Nautilus down on the bot lane. Ezreal, someone that we didn't even mention when we were talking about these kind of next tier of marksmen, still can put out a decent amount of damage. Very safe to allow Tun maybe to get around the map a little bit. Could Chimera be in trouble in this game?
No, because I feel like Merbs and Blue will still have bottom lane priority. So even if the Nautilus can get out lane, it'll be very, very rare that he does. And you'd expect that Munster, they'll have the information, they'll have the comms there, they'll maybe even have the vision priority quite consistently throughout the early game. And I think just in general, the matchup, I'm actually not too sure about it, because typically in the first couple of waves, Kai'Sa into most of these range matchups, she does find herself getting priority. There are a couple of matchups where maybe she doesn't, for a couple of mages that very heavily like to trade in the early game, perhaps like the Syndra or the Orianna as well, another one. But of course, you're talking about an AD carry trading into a champion with typically not that high of base AD. Typically, that's why Kai'Sa wins out in the early couple of waves. So let's see. I think it's more on Blueben to see how he actually tries to dictate the laning phase and how Chimera responds to it appropriately, or whether or not he tries to just constantly keep the wave in the middle of the lane, things like that. Prior in the mid lane, going to be very, very back and forth, I would expect. But in the bottom lane, it should be at Munster Rugby Gaming's, and on the top side, actually fairly volatile. I think Set can definitely force Stumpy on the Camille away from waves in the first couple of levels, as Camille typically does need a little bit of time to ramp up.
And of course, if Stumpy's going to be weak siding, which is, as you mentioned, what we probably expect from Munster Rugby Gaming, it's how they like to play with their lane assignments and where Gabush likes to go, especially if Gabush has a really good, strong mid-jungle 2v2, going on to play around Chimera. If you've got a roaming Tud, you need to be protecting that Syndra. Stumpy's just going to be left to his own device a little bit, and if Bobas wants to get involved, that could be an avenue that AaB could look to exploit moving forward. And in the late game, two marksmen, the dream's there. Munster Rugby Gaming onto the rift on the red side against AaB. On the blue side, the Munster Rugby Gaming party boat hasn't left dock just yet. No Moonstorm. Their luggage is getting put on that little conveyor belt currently.
It's already loaded. It's already loaded.
Oh no, but what if someone's mouse is in there? Blue's keyboard's in there, Jamada. My favorite, non-toxic flame in League of Legends right now, because of course you have to have some non-toxic flame that you throw into chat sometimes, is you're playing on trackpad. That's my current favorite.
Okay.
I was taught the tech by a Corki top I played against, where I killed him 3 times in lane. He killed me once and then instantly typed in chat, "You're the reason Toothpaste needs instructions." And that stuck with me. So you've got to choose a piece of non-toxic flame that won't come up in filters, and mine is currently you're playing on trackpad. Okay. But we're in a game of NLC Division 2 right now, Jamada. None of that nonsense.
No. I'm going to continue with this because I quite like this one. I typically like saying very silly things like, "I hope when you go to eat cereal the next time, there's no milk."
Oh, that is the worst feeling.
That's the honestly kind of thing I come out with sometimes, or just I hope you stub your little toe or something. No major bad.
Yeah, of course.
it's just like, what's the point? But you want them to kind of giggle at it a little bit if you're going to be kind of competitively irritating in all chat, let's just say.
Which is all I can really achieve when I'm playing League of Legends, because I'm not achieving very much else at the moment in ranked, but we don't worry about it. We're into game. We're looking for a bit of a gang. Blue going to get caught out by the stun. Has flash available. Going to get burning low with the ignites, but the exhaust also thrown down to stop Kaboosh, chasing him under tower. Bloober, no summoners at level 2. This lane has got a whole much more spooky.
And production, I'd like to make a request, if not for a replay, but just for confirmation on what happened to Kaboosh's Spectral Maw.
Well, I mean, Kaboosh is still fighting, gotta be said. As Boba's able to ride away, but he's already getting amongst it.
Yeah, it really is. 2 camps. Bobas went for red into Krugs for a full clear towards the top side. Because, on that level 2 gank, it looked like Kaboosh's Spectral Maw actually fizzled. I'm not too sure. Maybe it could have been high ground, low ground. It looked very, very odd. Definitely, it was a Scat of the Week stun that connected.
Thank you very much, production. We're going to see that replay. So what happens here for
I'm not sure if I'm just losing it or the Spectral Maw connects at the same time as the Scat of the Week.
It does connect.
The Scat of the Week misses.
Oh.
Okay, so it looked more or less like the stun actually came through from Chimera, but it didn't. It was the Spectral Maw that lands. Thank you for the confirmation. Wasn't quite sure. Still get both the summon spells out, but you'd have to think if both CCs land, that is a dead Kaiser. Speaking of CC landing blue, gonna be locked up, but able to, well, Abyssal Voyage out.
Yeah, just dives away. He's able to play reasonably safely, and will now move in to try and protect, because Bobas is there. Tun and Blueburn 2. Birds gets a bit of vision down. This could be a full-on fight. Chimera just like, hey, Kaboosh, do you want this? As the Vigo moves into the neighborhood. AaB, they're on a ward. No one tell them.
No one tell us. Do you remember? Oh.
No, nothing's happening. What's up?
Back in the day, when there weren't too many, obnoxious mechanics in the game. I'm talking like season 5.
Wow.
Game back in season 5, season 4.
I was playing a season 2, Giovanna.
Oh, okay, so you are an old head. Okay, so I can talk to you about this quite comfortably, knowing that you have the knowledge. But you remember, like back in season 4, season 5, when like the ability for Syndra to just pick up the blue buff whenever there was an invade.
Yeah.
It was like super obnoxious and genuinely kind of game changing.
Were you playing for that on the PBE, that one patch where Baron and Dragon could be picked up? That was a good patch. That was a very good patch.
League of Legends has been a very broken game at times.
It's just, you don't get jank like season 4 jank anymore.
No,
like,
you really don't.
You see some people like, Renata Glask is so dumb because she can make me slap my AD carry. Bro, you weren't playing on patch 420 with Warwick top. Like, he would smite you and one-shot you. Like, you ever seen the video of a 6 Black Cleaver Rammus one-shot an Ashe? Like...
Or dare us remember Udyr with a Meldrezzard's I can't remember the jungle item, the stacking jungle item. I can't remember what it's called.
Madrid's Blood Razor.
Blood Razor, yeah. Stacking jungle item. It's that. Lane is taking Spirit of the Elder Lizard.
I blooming Cull support item Vladimir top.
Oh yeah.
Like,
give that back.
Doesn't matter how you're doing, you're 400 CS up.
What about Bank Plank before his rework?
Oh, Bank Plank. Well, you started Crit Glove on the off chance that you just win the game level 1. Yeah. Do you remember when... We're not really talking about this game, but Boas needs to be a little bit careful. We've got to get stunned up. Could be in a lot of trouble, but pops the Ghost. They should be able to be fine, because we've got a tangent to be on. Do you remember when mid laners would just walk into lane and ignite each other?
Oh, yeah, I do.
That's just... What happened to you, League of Legends? What happened to you?
You were so cutesy. These days, not so much.
But, hey, there's been a League of Legends game on your screens. Munster Rugby have accrued themselves a small gold lead, just through nature of having a little bit more farm across the board. And
yeah, it's also primarily through the jungle as well. A lot of jungle.
Yeah, true.
Up. A lot of that to do with, of course, that early invade Did put Bobas
Oh,
off.
Bobas is going to make an aggressive play into the bot lane, but losing a lot of trouble here. Has the flash away, going to be knocked back airborne as Merbs looks to back off, put some damage down as well. Doesn't get the stun, but the Abyssal Watch is going to be used for the re-engage. This is a 3v2 though, Baloo. You need to be careful. Has Grey Health popping, so could be able to get a shield. Will be using it, but Merbs is just not putting out enough damage at the moment. First Blood's going to go over to Tun, who's already backed away, but Bobas moving forward, trying to cut down Merbs. Doesn't get the stun with a nice flash, dives on the tower, goes down. The Hecarim survives. AaB, it was close, but that was almost the perfect play.
Yeah, I mean, Merbs, Blue, just a little bit off the same page there. They weren't quite in unison with how they wanted to play out that 2v3. It was definitely a possibility, as I will say, Stumpy could have maybe got aggressed onto a little harder there by Gunkus. But Blue, Merbs, Blue goes back in for the re-engage. Merbs not quite able to put out too much more damage. Unfortunately, it just means that Bobas able to get Devastating Charge back up in the same gank. Not often you can say that about an early game Hecarim gank, as speaking of Hecarim, still 2 levels down now on Kaboosh. As whilst he did get that kill.
Oh, Stumpy needs to be really careful using that ultimatum, but Gunkas has got a lot of damage down. Flash available for the set as well. 1 punch is all it takes. Gunkas with the solo kill.
Yeah.
Munster Rugby Gaming.
Indeed, and I will say, we had our criticisms of Gunkus in the earlier stages of the split, as I'm going to have to hold this point.
Yeah, you're going to have to, because there's no ultimate available on Merbs. Hooked up, taken low, might well go down.
Oh.
Will be the kill, returns it though. Burning through. Ribery is going to fall, and that was a 1-for-1 exchange. First kill of the game for Munster Rugby Gaming, but AaB still the ones making the proactive plays.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage coming out from the lethality Zaya. Second time in a row we've had that in the game, as AaB definitely looking to get more proactive of the 2 teams so far. Something you don't often get to say about Munster, being the slightly less proactive team, as trades really heavily being taken. Stumpy's in danger.
Yeah, he is in big trouble. Needs to try and find a way out. Won't be able to hit the hook, and Gunkus gets a second solo kill in the top side. What's going on?
I don't know, but actually to try and latch on to the point, though, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it just yet.
No, you can.
I will be able to. Gunkus, whilst we actually had our criticisms, and I think our fair criticisms of his play in the very early stages of the regular season.
Okay, you have to stop your point now, because the engage is going to come on through. Merbs not going to call out, but it will be rooted up. Going to be a lot of damage coming through from Boas as he keeps Merbs in the alcove. Another kill going over this time to Hecarim. 2-0-1 on the Centaur. Maybe AaB and natives have a conspiracy.
I mean, I feel like at the moment, AaB are doing something that other teams just don't do against Munster. Just gank bot, just spam gank bot. You don't really see other teams punish the bottom lane of Munster too heavily, and if they do try to, they only go for like 1 play and just say, all right, that lane's won, let's go somewhere else. No, repeat gank this bottom lane. It can work out for you. They're just seeing as that is so much damage coming out from Gunkus.
Ribery has the flash away, is ignited, needs to be careful. Baloo has decent shield, needs to find a way out, won't be able to do so. As Baloo gets the kill, a nice clean one in the bot side for Munster. Stumpy puts in a little bit more poke onto Gunkus in the top lane.
Yeah, trying its best, but honestly, Gunkus is getting the better of that lane quite comfortably. Whilst that was going on the bottom side, Kaboosh did pick up this Herald Herald. It looks like they want to try and drop it down here, Kaboosh and Stumpy, as hook shot does connect.
Oh, Gunkus is on the tower, so should actually be okay. Doesn't manage to grab the hug onto Kaboosh, but there is Rift Herald in pocket for this Viego as well, it should be said. So Munster have got an opportunity to invest some gold, and even with the kills going the way of AaB in most cases, the gold is still very even, which just shows how good Munster are at the intangibles at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if we pull up the gold, I'll tell you where it's all coming from. Mid lane, difference at the moment. Top lane, obviously. And jungle, a little bit closer than I thought. But,
Stumpy caught in the ultimatum alongside Bobas, going to get dragged back in. And I think this is going to be curtains once again. A killing spree for Bobas on the Hecarim. Might be his strongest pro of the season so far as things stand.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say, whilst Bobas only has 40 CS at 11 minutes, which, by the way, translates to 10 camps. Ribery is being murdered by the...
Yeah, he just got murdered by
its Rugby Gaming jungle support duo. The amount of pressure he's put down has been superb. And Munster, they're still going to play into their very usual give Merbs all the resources, but they are trying to absolutely decimate the map right now.
He needs to find a way out, dodges away, flashes away from Tun. Even the exhaust won't keep his fancy feet down. First tower going over to Merbs at the 11.5-minute mark. It's still very, very early, and there might even be a second charge on this as well. AaB keeping the pressure on. They're trying to do it as much as they can as that second charge does go down onto the inner. But Munster Rugby Gaming making decent responses this time around.
Yeah, and if we're talking about Munster Rugby Gaming, what they like to do, playing towards that bottom lane, let's take a look at the goal now that all those tower plates went down, because despite all of the ganks that happened towards the bottom lane from Bobass, Ribery still finds himself 1.1k down, as it's Merbs that still gets all the resources funneled. Whilst the ganks were good, the issue is Ribery either died during them or it was Bobass picking up all the kills. So he isn't as accelerated as you think, and Gabush has had a free time to farm up, so he's ahead still of Bobass, despite the 301 score, because of the massive jungle camp differential between the two. Doesn't really care too much about it, because Viego, into most of this composition, it's a very short-range composition from AaB, so he's always going to have something to hit and be very, very powerful with all of this CS and XP he's accrued. Only champion in the game higher level than him at the moment is that Set and Syndra.
And this is the thing. This is why we're maybe not as worried about Munster Rugby Gaming as we would be a different team that's in this situation, because they are able to find themselves in a gold lead, even with every single skirmish pretty much going against them so far in the game. We've got about a minute for plates to be taken as well. Only one has been secured by AaB so far. And with all of these fights going their way, that's a little bit concerning. You'd have hoped to see them grab a little bit more gold as Munster get the crash into topside for Merbs once again. Surprise, surprise, give him the gold as Gabush dives on through to secure a little bit for himself as well. What could AaB do here? Because they had a very quick early game. It looks quite nice, but they haven't found themselves in a particularly valuable position. Actually, going to look to catch out the Zaya, but Baloo's like, nope, gobble, gobble. I'ma get out. Merbs diving off as well. Can AaB keep the pressure up with gold starting to go against them?
Yeah, I mean, I think they can. They just have to pick and choose their moments, like they have been so many times.
That's all right.
Seemed like AaB were looking for some depth charge was blown. Got Merbs potentially, but Gunkus couldn't actually find a follow-up.
Gabush just moving into the enemy jungle, grabbing himself a blue buff, as Tun wasn't able to find the re-engage there, as Munster Rugby Gaming pushing forward, looking for their second tower of the game. Unable to find it. Of course, the Dragon Ball's taken very, very late this time around, meaning that the second is only going to spawn up in 15 seconds. Will be Hextech on deck, as Gabush just putting the pressure on, not necessarily looking for an aggressive play, but just showing he's there to scare away defenders of that top tower to help his team secure it, meaning that mid lane will be the only outer falling or standing after this wave. Stories Bobass looking to catch out Stumpy, who's got the hook shot, finds his way over the wall this time around. Potentially looking to make a play happen with his teammates. Gabush is here. It's a 3v2 though, so I don't know how much Rugby will do here, but it's a nice starter onto Ribery. Going to be able to dive away though, looking for the damage. Missing out on the Q, but Stumpy goes very, very low. Will fall as AaB turned this one around. Gunkus moving forward, did use the teleport to come on through. But Gabush goes over the wall and gets himself out. But there should be a dragon going to AaB as well. Killing the dragon. Nice little play.
And just a touch over ego from Munster. AaB capitalized on it well enough. Bobass had the ultimate to disengage, and Ribery, of course, playing the Ezreal. Still had the flash if he really needed it. Stumpy just didn't go over at the exact same time that Gabush went. Wasn't able to lock down Ribery in the Hextech ultimatum. And it just means the play is able to be turned around on him. Bobass, very, very fed, has Conqueror. Kind of surprised that he's still going into the tank version of this build. But definitely still going to be absolutely fine. With so many kills, you just hope that sooner or later some of these kills end up going into the Ezreal's pocket or Blueben's pocket. As both Ribery and the mid laner here, they're going to need some resources if they are going to try and make this work. Despite being ahead 5 kills right now, they're down 3,000 gold.
It's a very interesting game state that we found ourselves in, and Munster just gonna want to slow things up a little bit. Don't give AaB the opportunity to take these skirmishes to be in the driving seat. As Tun, once again unable to find anything with the hook earlier, was landing all of them, and now only seems to be able to find minions in these lane exchanges. But it does come down to what you mentioned. Munster Rugby Gaming were able to get what they usually get in terms of map position. They've taken down 2 towers. Merbs is sitting on a dragon's hoard of gold. And if you look at this, yeah, look, 2,000 gold in the lead when your team is 8-3 down. And you're 3 of the deaths. That shouldn't happen.
Especially not when you were the focus of the ganks, and it's not even really Ribery's fault. Just the play's been turned around in his face by Munster. It's more credit to them for playing out particular situations very well. And this is Munster just dominating, having a better sense of the macro game. Rotations, using priority slightly better, using numbers to force towers here. And AaB just not able to respond.
Maybe gonna be using their mid lane tower as well. The map has been blown wide open as Baloo looking to get towards Bolas. Gets a nice slow, but shouldn't be able to find too much follow-up as he's too far. But he's actually going to go in looking for Chimera and for Merbs. Can't find either of them. Baloo takes a beating, but should be able to walk away and regen with that grey health. AaB, now you can see these more proactive plays that they're trying to go for aren't really working because they're too far behind, and Gunker's now caught out on the side lane, was getting solo kills, but now has to stand defensive and wait for support. Because Munster, the rotations, the movement is just looking so much better from them. Stubby moving forward, trying to get a kill down, gets the ultimatum. Bolas caught out and shut down by the Camille. This is bizarre, it must be said, because AaB looked so much better than Munster in every proactive situation, but they found themselves in a position where the game is almost impossible to play.
Yeah, and I mean, part of this is just down to what Gabush is doing during all of these ganks, the intangibles of a game, where he was just basically getting so much farm and XP to himself, and Chimera farmed up quite well in the mid lane. Did his job. Merbs still ended up getting resources funneled into him, and Stumpy on the top side, whilst he was honestly just outright losing to Gunkus. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You get that Divine Sunder, as long as you don't die in the mid game, and you have backup from the rest of your team on these side lanes, it's always going to work out for you. And the early Dragon stacking isn't really going to mean too much either. Cloud Soul is what we've been gifted with for game 2. It's not one of those more impactful souls, and yes, whilst of course you can make the argument, well, you've got Hecarim there, you've got things like the Nautilus, so the ult can be followed up on a little more easily, and Kai'Sa can always kite out, in and out, a little easier with that movement speed. The fact of the matter is, it's not an Inferno Soul, it's not a Hex Soul. The threats of those souls are just objectively higher in more cases than they aren't. So even if AaB managed to magic up these next 2 dragons, he won't do too much for them as Munster just continue to balloon the gold lead.
And that's if they can take those fights, if Munster allow them to, because Munster might be getting engaged on by Bolas, but a lot of damage going down onto the Hecarim. The Abyssal Voyage is being used for a flank, but Bolas smartly goes in a different direction. Teleport coming down. It's going to be a flash from Merbs that secures the kill in the end, but now they're looking for the ultimatum onto Ribery. But damage coming down on Stumpy, stands strong for a second longer, but doesn't manage to survive. The return kill comes down. Gunkus doesn't get stunned. And Munster need to be a little bit careful there. Pulled the trigger, only grabbed one, lost a member, and moved back into the jungle.
Move back into the jungle, take away these resources from AaB. Go back to the dragon, grab that chicken camp. So easy to steal away when you're playing on that side of the map, depending on what side, of course, you are, blue or red. And Munster now can just sit here and suffocate AaB out. There's nothing to stop them from doing it. And this is part of the beauty of the Xayah and Syndra into what is so much die from AaB. Specifically the Xayah and the lethality Xayah, that Merbs pops his ultimate, all of a sudden there's a massive field of feathers that you just can't walk into, otherwise you know you're going to get rooted and eat so much damage. So the options for AaB, they're just so limited, because what do? You go onto Merbs, and then all of a sudden the rest of your follow-up can't really come through without getting one shot. You try and find Chimera on a side lane who They did a pretty good job of staying safe. Options really are limited. But the items are starting to come in. For Ribery. 2 items there. Muramana stacked up. 2 items on Gunkus. Hole breaker and the stride breaker. Bobass working towards a second item. Luben, though, still looking towards that Luden's Echo. Have to wait a little while longer as he picked up the Hex Drinker. Will delay the spike, but of course kept him safe a couple of times. Like, look at the inventories of Munster. Shadow Flame in for Chimera on top of that Luden's. Last Whisper on top of the Muramana and the Eclipse already. And Munster, they're just sneaking away this Baron. I think the vision of the path from Viego is what's giving it away. They just hovered over it now. Should put the end to that Baron as they're just going to look for a turn.
It's a team fight though. Ton looking for a way out. We'll be able to find it. In the back line goes Kaiser looking for the damage. Meanwhile, on the front side though, Bobass is trying to cut down Stumpy, getting him low. Will be able to secure it. Chimera managed to get the kill to get rid of Kaiser, but the damage was already done. And AaB back on form, take the ace. So much damage from Gungus, who picks up a triple in that exchange. Now AaB move on to the Baron Lasher. What?
Gunkus is a monster is one. Not only that, Blueben, whilst he dived into the backline, he trades 1 for 1. He kept Munster's attention for so long, and once Munster actually able to turn into the fight, it was a little bit too late. They almost come through from AaB, absolutely mince them in the corridor, and all of a sudden, they pick up the kills, the shutdowns, tower, and the Baron. The gold's back down to even.
AaB, we thought that maybe they were out of this one a little bit, but they pull out something like that. Let's have another look at this. So keep your eyes on Blueben, because he goes in, he only managed to get the kill onto Gaboosh, but in the front line, so much work being done. And it's just, it looks okay from here.
Wow, okay, so Ultimate cancelled out between Ribery and Camille, so that's what keeps the Ezreal alive. In the backline, Blueben, 1v1s, 1v2s, Gaboosh and Chimera, and puts a lot of work in there. And it's just disjointed in this. Gunkus with the Ultimate into the Facebreaker, into the Haymaker. So much AoE. Do you reckon they did that on purpose for visibilities? Facebreaker into Haymaker, it kind of rhymes. You know? Like...
Well, it does rhyme. There's no kind of rhymes about it.
Well, no, I mean. I semantics of me. Anyway, AaB have put themselves in a position.
I know. We know what they're called. Whole breaker as well.
Stride. Oh my god.
It's almost so like there are lots of words that end in
Well, actually, more specifically, breaking is a part of Gunkus' MO this game.
Yeah, he's broken.
Yeah, and I have to say, despite AaB's overall performance in the split, massive turnaround for Gunkus in terms of individual performance. All in all, Bobass as well. Strong showings from the top side. Not to take anything away from the rest of the team. They have definitely stepped up, just not been able to turn it into wins, unfortunately, as a unit. As Baron has been up for a little while, but it feels like this is going to be nothing more than a bit of a delay for Munster for now. As the resets are starting to come back in, more items, the like will be picked up. And I think it'll just be back to the game state that we had almost, just maybe you're going to have a little bit more gold to work with this time around.
Bobass will be able to bring those minions in bot lane, grabbing themselves some gold and some territory, because other than that mid lane tower, they haven't been able to secure very much. And you need to take down a few towers if you want to take down the Nexus. And AaB need to get working on that sooner rather than later. As you mentioned, dragging up in 20 seconds, it's not really a big standoff. You've got to imagine neither of these teams will be overly concerned with it. And in fact, mid lane, Munster Rugby Gaming are just going to bash down the inner tower as well. So it's all about sieging, it's all about racing. AaB looking to take this one down before Munster can get on top of them, but decide instead to respectfully move away. That could be a mistake. The teleport coming in for Gunkus. We're going to see a very split fire as members of AaB moving forward. Teleport coming in from Stumpy. Can they get a kill to Chimera? He's still alive in the backline. Gets the kill onto Bobass. This fight may be turned. As you see, so much work going in from Gunkus. Gaboosh survives. Dives back in towards Tun, looking for the damage. Won't be able to find it. Gets the ultimate down. Nice knock up from the Tom Kench. Nautilus doing a decent amount of work, getting that CC to land as Gunkus marauds forward once more. Ribery gets the snipe down. Baloo caught out by the anchor, smashed back in towards the blast cone. Double kill for Ezreal. Another fight goes the way of AaB. Close this time around, though. And their prize will be that third dragon.
Yeah, they will pick up that third dragon. He's stolen away. Chimera spots it on vision somewhere. It's a control ward in the river. Too short, but call was made to ensure that he doesn't drop to that. Like you say, close. That team fight definitely was for a while. And it was Chimera that got dove onto, almost died. Fortunately, wasn't quite able to for the Munster side, but all kicks off with Bobas going in. Teleports are coming in. Dive comes through from Blueben as well, but they're not able to actually put in the damage. Blueben minced in the middle of the grinder. In the middle of the fight as well, Merbs gets absolutely one-shot. So much of the damage coming through, and I'm more surprised that Gunkus didn't pull the trigger on the ultimate for so long. It's actually bugged out on the HUD there. He's had it for just about all of the replay. Hold on to it. You have to feel if he actually pulls the trigger earlier, had a couple of angles. Wasn't quite able to turn, unfortunately. And where's the vision for Munster here? Because
so he's Chimera going to that bush. Yeah, so they're going for Chimera.
But more or less, what I'm asking is, how did Chimera know to... The move is just game sense, I suppose. Move out of that bush. There's another prodding Ezra ult. Will stop some recalls.
Maybe looking for the next avenue, though. You can never count them out, especially in this game, because they found their way back into it, fighting each and every step. Tongue caught out in the ultimatum, gets a nice depth charge. A lot of damage goes through, but he will fall. Gaboosh gonna be able to grab the Nautilus for some extra health, and Moon walks away. But let's have a very quick look at the replay.
Yeah, and what is this? This is from Chimera's POV. Ah. Is it really?
There's a ward. Yeah, there's two wards.
I forget, I suppose, the control ward still gives vision. Even if it's destroying the ward.
Wards give vision.
Well,
everybody.
no, but it's
Jamada, 2022. You don't get this level of analysis anywhere else.
It's what you forget because you watch so much from, you know, the spectate POV and the way the control wards work. This is just a product of me not playing too much Dig recently. That's all. I've forgotten how control ward vision works. I apologize. I'm a bad commentator. But yeah, Chimera did dodge out from that one. And great from Munster as well to punish that mid lane overstep. They saw Babas taking that top tier 1. They say, what the hell is their main primary engager doing up there? Let's go and force the issue. And now AaB, speaking of forcing the issue, with very little vision on the Munster side, outside of being inside that pit, no Gaboosh could spot everybody. Trying to set up a death brush. No one on Munster will take the bait.
This is a very close game, but it doesn't even feel like the next fight wins it. Which at the 30-minute mark, with the meta the way that it currently is a little bit surprising, because these two teams, fights have been bloody. Baron's on the map. Question being, who wants to play around it? Who's got control? Currently it's AaB standing around, clearing out vision and having entrances to the river covered. What can Munster do here, though? Stumpy in the bottom lane could look to teleport. Which could be setting Gunkus down to match him. Bobas hanging around, just clearing out his jungle. Excited to see what the next plays around, really, because neither of these teams, for two teams who have wanted to fight the entire game, don't seem too keen on starting anything.
Yeah, not right now. I think AaB cautiously approaching team fights. More or less just because they worry Munster be able to outplay them, perhaps. Whereas Munster, with the less proactive tools, it makes sense that they're not necessarily the one engaging. But AaB now maybe just looking to truly pick their moments a little more meticulously to ensure that they are picking the right ones and the fights are a little less close. That's a lot of damage from two feathers to be pulled through, by the way.
Blueben needs to be a little bit careful because he could just get blown up and losing your mid laner at this point in the game. And remember, this would be solved for AaB if they can secure it. Again, we talked about it being not this major win condition, but it's a big help when the game is so close. And AaB just trying to put some poke down. Ultimate from Ezreal this time goes wide. And AaB moving back into the mid lane to try and get some control over this minion wave, which is being shoved in by Merbs and Baloo. There's now Monster Rugby Gaming who move in towards the Dragon Pit. Could look even just to start this one up. As AaB a little bit too slow to the punch. We'll have to move down the river. Monster Rugby Gaming setting up traps for them as they go.
For Gunkus.
They're looking for it. Nice snipe coming on through. Gunkus is running by. The Dragon's going to be secured by Munster, so deny them that soul for a little bit longer. And move back into the jungle. AaB can't find anything, but they're going to race back into the mid lane to clear out the minion wave. Could they look potentially to go for a very quick Baron?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they could. And Munster, they're being a little bit lackadaisical about it. Stumpy's on the bottom wave. He has teleport. Blue just reset. They are walking straight past the mid lane wave, though, so they know what's going on. And that blue ward will give them the information they need. But that Baron is going down quick. That's gone.
That's a very, very fast one. What can Gaboosh do here? It's going to be blind. Dives over forward. Can he steal it? No, he can't. It's secured by Bombas as they get the kill onto Viego as well. That was really close, but it will be secured by the jungler from AaB. Now they're looking to take the fight. Stumpy could be caught out here. A lot of damage going on down onto Bombas as Stumpy looks to escape. Should be able to do so, but the dive forward is a lot from Blue, but the damage is there as well. Stumpy goes golden, but will be knocked back into the fray. So much damage with the ultimatum. As Stumpy looks to get the kill onto the horse, will be able to do so before he falls. So now it's 4 members with Baron for AaB. They do manage to take down 2 in the play as they march forward, maybe looking towards an inhibitor siege.
Yeah, looking towards that inhibitor siege. I think the issue is Merbs might have a little bit too much poke to work with. Still has the ultimate. Chimera has Scatter the Weak and ult. Summoners across the board available. So for AaB, I think the safe call is definitely to back away, but it's going to feel frustrating to get the Baron and not be able to capitalize on anything straight away after getting 2 kills. The issue is Stumpy does such a good job in that 2v1, isolated away from the rest of his team to try and take down Bombas. Gets the kill. And it means that no further exploits of the Baron can ensue. And this is a much closer game than it perhaps has to be. For Munster coming into it, expecting Munster to give AaB a bit of a smacking. As Chimera forced the flash as well away from that point.
The flash away.
That's now not going to be something he's got for the next Dragon fight, which will be soul for AaB. And Bombas has been trying to find his way consistently onto Syndra, if anybody else, because going onto Merbs is always difficult with that Featherstorm. And no one else really matters if you're the Hecarim.
And AaB going to move up towards the top side. Stumpy dashing away so he doesn't get caught out overextended. Smart play from him because he is the enemy team and looking for an engage. Tumble land one, but could be in a lot of trouble. He's tanky, but how tanky is he? Enough to survive for the moment. River gets the kill down. It's only on to Baloo, but that's a big ultimate to remove from the fight. Going to be fitting the wave with that missile. Arcane missile coming through from Ezreal.
Oh, that still has ult. They can dive this if they stick around, and that's a lot of poke onto Chimera.
Just looking
the wave
to
is
keep
quite
the minions
far,
big. Well, they've got this Baroned up siege minion that they're trying to keep pounding away at that tower. The minion wave has arrived as when I get Baroned up, a little bit of a movement speed increase, and they're looking to crack open the top lane even further. Gunkus will be able to punch through it, gets a shield off, and might just back away here. They lose out on these 2 minions, but in the middle lane, Gaboosh going towards Bombas needs to be careful. Hecarim can't just ride away.
Hecarim able to just move away from that one, and it seems that's all AaB will get from the Baron, that top tier 2. A little bit of presence in the mid lane, and that was about it. We get a bit of a map reset here again, Will.
Yeah, this game is going to distance. 35 minutes into this one. Gold lead, slender, 3,000 gold to good for AaB at this stage in the game. That's much less relevant than it would have been 20 minutes ago, but just 7-0-6, Gunkus on the set. A revelation in the top lane for AaB this game. For Munster, a real fall in their side as they look to secure themselves the title.
Yeah, indeed he is. Continuing to have good performances throughout back end of the split individually. Specifically this week, of course. Definitely someone you have to keep your eyes on in these potentially last team fights of the game. How he tries to angle himself for ultimates. Target selection, things of that nature, and whether or not people are following up on the damage, because 4-item set. Whilst he doesn't necessarily have the most AD, and actually he's got 340 AD. Has that red pot as well. I'll take that statement back immediately. Not only is he a tank, he is a massive, massive damage threat. To all of the members here of Munster. They're trying to make a play towards the mid lane, shove this one up. Make AaB respond to the wave, and have priority on this dragon. How will AaB respond to this? Stumpy's up in the top side, trying to shove in. Gunkus will meet him. There's another TP ward quite deep. Merbs. Really
that's a big ability to use. Those feathers are going to be important. Teleport in the backside. Keep your eyes on Gunkus. He's the big target as Bombas gets the engage going, but it might be a little bit too early as damage coming on through. AaB Blueburn gets the first kill once again as Hegram has to smite for health. Goes down. AaB without their horse need to be careful in the top side. Stumpy stopped the teleport from Gunkus, which is why the set never managed to get into the play, and Camille actually gets away. So Munster chasing away AaB, expecting a big collapse that just never arrived. And now Munster going to set themselves up for Soul Point in 5 minutes time, but Stumpy with the heroics.
Yeah, it is, but it's kind of criminal. I really want to see where Gunkus was trying to teleport from to get cancelled by the Camille. Of course, Camille has a very obnoxious range on the hook shot, so maybe he was quite far back, but nonetheless, you should know this. Be in base if you have to be. Great job from Stumpy. If Gunkus is able to make it to a fight that close, you'd have to imagine lights out for Munster. How far does he teleport back? Does he just think that Stumpy's going, resetting?
Can't see him.
I mean,
you can't.
No, you can't. You can't, quite frankly. Stumpy saves Munster in this exchange, because even if Stumpy teleports down to this side of the map at the same time as Gunkus, you have to imagine that a fight that was going that close as a 4v4 without Gunkus, with the set there, is a winning one.
I mean, Gunkus is here at the Baron. Chimera goes to half health with the snipe, and this Baron is going to go down very, very quickly. AaB needs to be a little bit careful, though, because Munster are moving through. Stumpy, remember, has teleport. He's on the other side of the map, but can move in, and there's no one to cancel his engage. As nice knockup from the Baron. AaB needs to be careful. The Baron is going to go low. It's secured once again by AaB as they'll pick up the kill onto Kaboosh once again. Stumpy staying on that bot side, trying to create some pressure as AaB need to decide what they want to do with this objective.
Yeah, they do need to decide. It seems like the top lane is the play. Gunkus is going to go back to base just to ensure that Stumpy doesn't do anything to the base of AaB. Then you'd expect he's going to beeline it all the way back up to base, or he could even try and shove in this wave. Get it slow pushing up. Could be risky as more poke. It's just so much damage. And speaking of damage, oh my god.
I mean, this is something that we were saying a little bit jokingly at the beginning of the game. Look, AaB, if they can get to 40 min, it's against Munster Rugby. They've got double marksman. And here we are, 39, 40 minutes into the game. AaB have double marksman.
Yeah, and with Poke Kaiser, it's just so obnoxious. Seeing this ability hit for like 800 damage or more. There's nothing you can do about it either.
We could just not get hit by it.
I mean, you can dodge it, but you can't stop the poke from coming in.
Yeah, true. Well, you can kill Blueburn.
With what engage tools?
Camille flank?
Sure, but conditional at best, unfortunately.
Not if you're
Stumpy hasn't really had his eyes on those, like, flanks, to be honest with you.
This is true. It feels like Munster have been going for a very traditional front to back when it comes to fighting. But at this stage in the game, I don't think that's going to work for them.
It is more to do with how AaB want to play out the team fights, though. They are just trying to say, okay, we've got the Lethality Zaya, who loves people coming into us. We've got the Syndra, who love people coming into us. Viego doesn't care what way the fights happen, as long as he gets on top of somebody. So opting for this backwards gameplay, and for AaB, it is technically front to back, but it's, of course, way more dive.
Gunkus going to be forced away from the wave by Chimera as the rest of Munster Rugby Gaming rotate towards him. Siege is slow, but it is going for AaB, looking for that snipe. Ultimate goes wide. As Merbs this time around has a full health bar, which is a luxury for the Zaya at this point in the game, because A lot of poke has been thrown his way. Baron buff does not have too long running on it, which will be some solace for the team in red. Munster Rugby game, of course, win the league if they win this game, but that is looking contested at best and unlikely at worst, as AaB will be able to crack open the base. 40 minutes in, the first inhibitor tower of the game goes down. As Tun keeping those minions nice and barrened up towards this mid lane inhibitor tower. Might be able to get this one low as well. Shouldn't be able to secure it, as good response from Murbs and Stumpy will ensure that AaB forced to run away as the Baron buff ends. It's a long one. Strap yourselves in, folks, because I think this one's got a few fights in it left.
Yeah, I think it honestly might. So, depending on the wave states, Munster, they lost their top lane inhibitor. It's been open. Bottom lane also open if the waves are there for it. AaB have the numbers. Definitely end the game for Munster. A little trickier, but still very much possible. But at least 2 more fights in more cases than not on this Cloud Soul. It's spawning, and the Munster just don't feel like they're in a position to contest. They're trying to cash this wave super high, Kaboosh, but now he's been forced away onto the top side of the map, and Ribery's just beelining it to this dragon. And that's definitely death for this Cloud Dragon, so that's going to be AaB's. Munster, they're just going to get anything in return. Time purchased through that inhibitor on the top side, but the issue is now AaB will just shove on the bottom side themselves. And that pressure might just end up resetting itself, although Stumpy is sticking around for an extra wave, so that's definitely going to do a little bit of aid to that scenario. But now I worry, is this inhibitor just going to drop? Be a byproduct of that shove on the top side.
Munster have 4 members here. This Kaboosh moving forward. The mid lane inhibitor tower goes, and Gunga's just looking to get the inhibitor. 40 minutes set, will be able to break it open. First one of the game at the 43-minute mark. AaB finally starts spawning up super minions as they hang around the bot side, maybe looking to grab a second lane of them. Stumpy in the top lane, just going towards that inner tower, might be able to secure that one, but AaB taking a little bit of pummeling actually. It's a 4v5, but health bar's on the side of Munster. But the inhibitor's the focus. Stumpy has found his way onto the inhibitor tower. In the bot lane as AaB backing away. Is Stumpy trying to set himself up a base race? Gonkas has teleport, but needs to find a safe position to do so. Oh, Stumpy looking towards the inhibitor now. He's searching for it, getting a decent amount of damage through. The minion wave will join him as members of Munster just looking to stop ports. Ribery stops the recall. Stumpy's going to get onto the Nexus towers. And Gaming are just stalling, holding at bay to get the kill onto Murbs. But will it matter as Stumpy has found his way there? Gunkas has finally found a way back with the teleport to keep Stumpy from getting the second Nexus tower as the engage comes on through. But Gunkas is not there, remember, but the damage coming through, it doesn't really matter. Teleport is coming on through from Camille. Stumpy will be able to follow that one down and protect his teammates, diving directly onto the backline. Finding Ruben, can he get a kill? Yes, he can. Excellent play from Stumpy as Ribery dances away. Resurrection for Camille, who might get CC, but Bombas thinks twice and dashes away.
Oh no.
As Gunka's moving up mid lane. He's mad. AaB have been taught the dark arts. They're trying to get on towards Chimera, but they won't be able to stop that port. At least the Syndra's going to be able to get away. But now the fight is 2v2. Stumpy can't get back. Baloo can't get back. Baloo's dead. Stumpy's dead. Gunka's looking for the Nexus towers. He gets one. What can Chimera do here? He's punching so fast. He moves onto the Syndra to try and get the kill. He'll be able to find it. Gunka's out of nowhere learns from Munster Rugby Gaming, punches the Nexus, and wins the game for AaB. What?
I have very little idea about what just happened in the final 3 minutes of that game. And I'm not going to pretend like I have any idea of how that game ended.
Do you know what, Javana? Don't worry about it. We're going to charge a short break. We'll ask the teams because it's on, but the proof is on them for that one. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.